Hello and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
Myself, Stephen George. Good evening.
It's Sunday, the 16th of December 2018. God, loads of things going on globally and in Ireland at the moment. So we're going to crack on and get things moving because we have a lot to talk about. Our guest on the show is a lady called Nicola Barbosa. And Nicola's going to be talking to us about quantum healing. So we're going to be bringing Nicola in a few minutes. But before we do that, let's find out what the communication channels are.
Okay, folks, communication channels.
The communication channels are email info@oymrireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, the OYM chat room can be found on the website, OYMRadio.com. That is the place to be. If you do have a username and password, you can log straight into the chat room and join the friendly group of folk who are there every Sunday. And a big hi to all of you. You know who you are. And also, peoplesinternetradio.com. We are on, or streaming also over there on PIR, and we're monitoring the chat room over there, and an equally friendly bunch of people live there on Sundays also, so a big hi to all of you. We also have on our own website there, you will find links for all the usuals, the anti-social media, Facebook, MeWe, Twitter, Skype, and the all-important email address, info@oymradio.com. And as we mentioned previously, if you are new to the show, or if you are a seasoned veteran of the show at this stage, and you just want to say hi, if you haven't done so already, fire us off a quick email, just a quick one-liner, just to say hi. Let us know that you're tuning in, and maybe just what your thoughts are on the show, or if you have any ideas for guests for future shows, that would also be much appreciated. Also on the website there, you will see links to the previous podcasts, and there's a search facility, so if you want to check out something or someone who we have had on, you can just type in the name. You will also find them on our YouTube channel also, and a lot of great links there as well. The TuneIn Radio app, that's a very popular app for your smartphone or your iPhone. You can log in, download that app. It's free, and you can listen to us all day, every day. And lastly, the phone number, as Mary mentioned, 046 927 1212 is the number if you want to call in from Ireland. If you're listening outside the Republic of Ireland, it's 00353 469 271212. Alan.
Brilliant stuff. And you mentioned Patreon, yeah?
Yes, must mention Patreon. Let's see, we're Patreon virgins at this stage. We have got the Patreon link up there. It is on the website. There is a little thermometer down the bottom of the web page on the left-hand side, just to let you know how things are progressing there. It also incorporates anything that comes in via PayPal as well, so you can donate via PayPal if you so wish, or if you want to become a Patreon, then you get some extra fringe benefits. Because both Alan and I are bloggers now. We're bloggers. We're blogging
and
away.
I'm going to be talking about that actually later, so tune in a few minutes.
Yeah, so we're blogging as well. So we do put up private little blogs on the Patreon platform there. So if you fancy throwing us the price of a cup of coffee once a month, or once a week, or even once a day, it's up to yourself. Patreon is the platform, and as I said, link on the website.
Brilliant stuff, Steve. Okay, let's crack on. IrishTimes.com. Drivers face penalty points. €80 fine if stopped without licence. Shane Ross TD moves to introduce long-promised graduated fines for speeding. Drivers will be hit with automatic penalty points and an €80 fine if they are pulled over and do not have their driving licence to hand. Under proposals being tabled by Minister for Transport Shane Ross, the changes would remove discretion from Gardaí to allow motorists to present a station with their licence if they are without it when they're stopped. The new moves from Mr Ross are being brought to Cabinet today. That was during the week. At present, if a motorist is stopped by a member of the Garda Síochána, an individual Garda has the discretion to ask the person concerned to present at the station with their licence by a set period of time, 7 days normally, and that works fine. I was talking to a couple of men about this, and they were saying, oh, you should always have your licence on you. And I said, well, hang on. There's times in the summer where you're probably in a rush and you just run out, you have to pick up the kids or do something, and you jump in, you might have shorts on and a T-shirt or something. And if the guards stop you and you go, oh yeah, sorry, forgot my licence, genuinely forgot your licence, you know, have it produced and go down to the police station. And there, Shane Ross is trying to propose that you can't do this anymore. Again, you know, time and time again we say it, it's always about the revenue. It's always about the money. It's all about making money. That's all. This isn't about safety. This isn't about anything else other than revenue. And to follow up, Steve's going to tell us a bit more.
Well, if I could just make a comment on that in relation to the whole driving licence thing. Hands up who has the driving licence in the car at all times. Oh, my hand's up.
No.
Your hand's not up.
Well, the thing is, if my car is broken into and I have my licence there, that's the ID taken. So I don't want to leave any personal information got to do with myself in my car.
Yeah, I actually leave mine in the car because I just find, if you are in that kind of a situation, I mean, think about it for a second. Guard stops you and he says he needs to, find out who you are, and you tell him, and he doesn't believe you, so he wants to give us a look at your license there. If you don't have it, you can say, sure, I'm Joe Blogs, and this is my address. But, and then you have to produce it and all the carry on. But, I mean, okay, there is another side to this thing also, because within a split second, they can put the registration of your car into their computer, and they'll know in a moment exactly your name, your address, your telephone number, your date of birth, whether your car is taxed, NCT'd, insured.
Exactly.
And then when they come up and they say to you, "What's your name?" Mister, if you give the correct name, that should be it. Right, good luck.
Yeah.
Because before they stop it, they already know.
Yeah, it's all part of the totalitarian tiptoe. So it's very easy. I know Steve said he has it in his car, but we all know what's behind it. Not just about money. It's all about control. That's what it's about. So.
Anyway, we go on. The Independent.ie said, the faster you speed, the bigger the fine under the new law. Penalties for motorists caught speeding will be determined by how fast they are caught driving under a proposed law to be considered by the government. Transport Minister Shane Ross is expected to bring an outline to the new law, the Road Traffic Act Bill 2018. Under the current law, all speeding motorists face the same penalties no matter how fast they are travelling when they're caught. Speeding results in a fine of €80 and 3 penalty points under the existing system. Non-payment can see offenders brought to the court, where they automatically get 5 penalty points on conviction and a fine up to €1,000. The new bill will see penalties for speeding divided into bands, with increased penalties determined by the bands, and more serious offenders are to receive more serious penalties. So obviously if you're going 5 miles over the limit, you fall into a Category A, 10 miles Category B, and so on and so forth, and obviously the fines will go up accordingly.
Well, more money to be generated by this, and again, they're treating the symptom and not the cause. Like doctors do, they treat the symptom and not the cause. So again, it's a revenue earner.
So, should the guards carry machine guns, and when you're speeding, rather than stop you, they just shoot you?
Hey, there you go.
The fast and the furious guards, what?
I think the whole system needs to be revamped, because, like an elastic band, if they keep bringing in these penalties for everything, if you cough in the wrong direction, or you go down the road in a loud shirt and they arrest you for having a loud shirt on, it gets silly. And like an elastic band, you can only pull it so much, and then it's going to break, and that's what will happen. And I don't think, maybe they do realise it. Maybe they do want civil war. Maybe they do want people out on the road. But talking about that, we all know about the high-vis movement that's taken place in France, and obviously over the weekend we had it happening over here in Ireland as well. Well, the Egyptian government, their solution is very simple. Egypt restricts yellow vest sales to avoid copycat protests. So they say Egyptian authorities have quietly introduced restrictions on the sale of yellow reflective vests, fearing opponents might attempt to copy French protesters during next month's anniversary of the 2011 popular uprising that toppled autocrat Hosni Mubarak.
I'm glad you got to read that one, not me.
Security officials and retailers said Monday. They said industrial safety equipment dealers have been instructed not to sell yellow vests to walk-in buyers and to restrict business to wholesale sales to verified companies, but only after securing police permission. They were told offenders would be punished, the officials said without elaborating. 6 retailers in Cairo downtown area, where industrial safety stores are concentrated, said they were no longer selling yellow vests. 2 declined to sell them, giving no explanation, but the remaining 4 told the Associated Press they were told not to by police. So, just stop selling yellow vests. That's really going to solve the problem and stop people protesting. I don't know.
So does that mean that if the protesters then decide, okay, yeah, but we can't get the high-vis vest, we'll just go with yellow T-shirts?
Yeah, yellow T-shirts, or white T-shirts, or, maybe they can get pink.
So the fashion police are on patrol now.
Remove the yellow vest. I mean, that is really desperate. It really is. That is resorting to desperation. Anyway, over to you.
Yes, over to me. Listener from Truth, Honour and Integrity show, that's Thomas Williams' show, says the Trump rules Congressional Reform Act of 2017.
So the reason why I put these down is because our politicians these are the rules that our politicians should stick to.
Yeah, they could learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the list here we're going to go through. Number 1, no tenure or no pension. A congressman or woman collects a salary while in office and receives no pay when they're out of office, and no more perks go with them. Number 2, Congress, past, present and future, participates in Social Security. All funds in the Congressional Retirement Fund move to the Social Security system immediately. All future funds flow into the Social Security system, and Congress participates with the American people. It may not be used for any other purpose. Number 3, Congress must produce their own retirement plan, just as all Americans do.
Purchase.
What did I say? Produce. Anyway, let's go back to Specsavers. I need to get these glasses checked. Number 4, Congress will no longer vote themselves a pay rise. Congressional pay will rise by the lower of CPI, or 3%. Number 5, Congress lose their current healthcare system and participates in the same healthcare system as the American
I like
people.
that one. I'd like to see Michael Noonan in A&E for 5 or 6 hours.
Wouldn't we all?
Exactly.
Yes. Number 6, Congress must equally abide by all laws they impose on the American people, i.e. no more insider trading. That's a biggie. Number 7, all contracts with past and present congressmen and women are void. The American people did not make this contract with congressmen and women. Congress made all those contracts by and for themselves. Serving in Congress is an honour and privilege, not a career. We all know there's a lot of career politicians.
Yeah. Serving in the Dáil is not a career.
Yes.
It's a privilege.
Absolutely. The Founding Fathers envisioned citizen legislators should serve their terms, then go home and go back to work, not get all kinds of freebies. That is a biggie here because it's obviously a worldwide epidemic.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's it.
That's it. Well, there's from Trump and what his recommendations is regarding Congress, and I think the Irish politicians, they should apply to a lot of the Irish politicians over here. Too many politicians benefiting from being in government and not doing what they should do, which is the will of the people. And basically, the other thing, obviously, it's been all over Facebook, if you've been tuning into what's been going on in Ireland, that we heard about the 3 elderly people, 2 men and a woman in Roscommon, who were evicted by KBC Bank, and apparently loyalist paramilitary bailiffs dressed in black turned up to do the eviction, along with the Gardaí, may I add. One of the family supporters was an ex-guard who was assaulted by the thugs while her own Gardaí watched and did nothing. I've seen the video and so has Steve. Maybe if they were, like, he was speeding or he was parked incorrectly, the guards would get involved because there's revenue to be made. But as there was no revenue to be made and an ex-guard, an ex-colleague was being beaten up, sure, what do you want us to do? It's inside the gate. We can't do anything. But there's an update that happened today. At about 8 a.m. this morning, 50 men turned up and removed the thugs who were in the house. So these thugs that were taking residence in the actual house after they evicted the 3 people, they were staying in the house. And 50 men at 8 p.m. this morning turned up, and basically these thugs left promptly, some of them in their bare feet. There was, unfortunately, a security dog killed. Obviously, they must have set the dog on the actual one of the 50 men. And 8 of the thugs, I suppose, depending on what the paper you read, had to be treated in Mullingar and Sligo Hospital, and 4 vehicles were burnt out. The vehicles belonged to the thugs, by the way. So, now, the local TD, Deputy Eugene Murphy, who knows the family at the centre of the eviction row, came out of his ivory tower, appealed for calm. The Fianna Fáil TD, who's based in Strokestown, said he would be contacting the bank involved in the case on Monday morning to see if anything could be done to ease tensions. Whatever the circumstances of this case, it appears to me that the eviction, was handled in a cold manner, he said. I will talk to the bank to see if anything can be done to ease tensions. Where was he when the eviction was going to be taking place? Or the trouble before that? He's only coming out now because of everything that's going on. You know, talk about closing the gate when the horses have bolted.
Yeah, well, I mean, if that when that eviction took place, if there hadn't been a little uprising, he wouldn't have come out. But, you know, obviously now that the people have stood up, it now becomes, you know, the next election. He fears for his life, you know, he won't get re-elected. So he wants to be, as we already spoke about today, he wants to be the politician who comes out and stands in the pothole and then gets it fixed. So now isn't he a great man?
That's it. I don't know why people vote for these people. I really, really don't why people vote for them. This is the elastic band breaking. These 50 men, fair play to them, whoever they were, turned up, and they're not going to have this happen again. We've had this in history already. They were called the Black and Tans. They came in, and we had the Land League in the late 1800s with Michael Davitt. And the same thing's happening again. And our politicians are letting it happen. I mean, seriously, why are we voting for these people and letting them in government? And they're letting this happen on their doorstep, and they're not giving a damn. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable.
Calm down there, will you?
There you go. Hang on, let me just move my soapbox. There you go.
That big vein is bulging on your forehead.
I just took my soapbox down there. Okay. How's your week?
Yeah, my week's been fine. Not too much to report. Just one or two things I just want to mention very quickly. One was, as we just covered there, it was, you know, an awakening that is starting to happen. And you know, we're not really seeing much of what's happening, even in France on mainstream. Well, that's my understanding. I don't watch mainstream news, but I've been asking a few people who I work with, and you know, they kind of they're looking at you going, no, I didn't say it, or I didn't hear about it. You're going, wow, where have you been? So it's nice to see that the people are starting to wake up. So it's a bonus, I think, and long may it continue. I watched a guy. There was a video on the internet during the week of a guy with a phone, and I watched it. It was about, I think, 2 minutes or 3 minutes long, and it was very interesting. And it was just saying, and coming up to Christmas, you know, we're obviously going to be out socialising with friends and family, and probably having Christmas dinner. And basically, what he was saying was, when you have your cell phone in your hand, that a lot of people get the impression that the cell phone is more important than the people who you're talking to. And he said, if you turn up to someone and they want to have a word here, they want to talk to you, and you put your cell phone in your pocket and you leave it there, then they feel they have your undivided attention. But if you stand there with your cell phone in your hand, even though you may not be looking at it, but if you have it in your hand, it sends out the message that this is the most important thing. I will try and find the video and get it up there on the chat room, because I thought it was very important. It did send out a good message, and you know, even I see this at home with my daughter. I know she's not listening, so but I see it at home with her. And after watching the video, I always kind of I knew the content of that video were true, because I had felt that way whenever you were talking to her, and even mid conversation, she'd glance down at the phone, you know, swipe the screen, and then look back at you, and you're kind of going, oh. You know, am I not important enough? Can we not have a conversation? So I've shared that video with her as well. And even though it was only this week, she hasn't done it since. Well, not in my company anyway. Okay. The only last thing that I want to mention is there's a lot of sadness in the world. There's a lot of happiness in the world. And coming up to Christmas time, there's a lot of kind of mixed emotions. There are people who are homeless, and there are people who are cold outside, and that song was mentioned, you know, Baby It's Cold Outside, and it was actually something on Facebook. People are saying they're all talking about this song. Well, there are people who are cold outside and they're homeless. At this you know, stage of the game, we need to consider those people, and just going to spare them a thought, especially this time of year, but really all times, you know, all during the year. I had a chat with my family yesterday. We'd done a little thing for a sandwich run. We just kind of made some sandwiches, and like my kid said to me, isn't it terrible like that there are people who don't have homes, or have a roof over the head for Christmas. And I says, yeah, but I said, there are also people who do have roofs over the head for Christmas, but they don't have any food to put on the table. And I said, it's probably just as bad as being homeless, I suppose, if you can't put food in your kids' bellies. And my youngest daughter, she said, Holly, we have 2 cars. Could we not give one of the cars away to someone who's homeless? At least then they'd be able to sleep in the car. And I thought, innocence is a beautiful thing.
It is.
But the last thing I want to say is, long-time listeners of the show will know that we lost my father-in-law in May, and there's when you lose someone, this is the first kind of person who has been really, really close to all of us in the family, and so this is the first. Christmas is the first Christmas that we've known and the kids have known without their granddad, and it's I wasn't even thinking about it until during the week. They were all kind of mentioning Pop, as they used to call him, and they're all kind of missing him, and my wife is too, my mother-in-law, and I suppose me to some degree as well, because I have to be the man of the family now. And just forced. I mean, we've lost people before in the family, but never anyone who was really, really close to us. It was kind of a distant, a cousin or a aunt or an uncle.
Yeah.
But never someone very close. So yeah, we're just kind of thinking about him this time of year.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Christmas, yeah.
There you go. That's it. Done and dusted. How was your week?
Okay. Well, before we bring Nicola in, just a couple of things as usual. During the week, I finished the Prepper Powerbank Belt Mark II, which can be seen on our YouTube channel. So if you go over to our YouTube channel, you can have a look at the belt that we did. It's a smaller profile belt. It doesn't have as much techie stuff on it as Mark 1, but it's a lower profile. So you can check it out there on YouTube anyway. We also had the meeting with an ex-guest, myself and Steve, had a meeting during the week with an ex-guest about doing video interviews. And there's potential there, so we're going to have a talk about it and maybe review it again in February for a number of reasons, just to see where we go with OYM and Patreon and all that kind of stuff. But there's potential there, but we'll just have to see what happens. And the last thing before we bring Nicola in is myself and Steve are enjoying doing some blogging on Patreon, and we have a number of blogs up there, and just talking about things that have been going on, what we've been up to, what we're doing. Our thoughts on the show when a guest is on and stuff like that. We have other bits and pieces that we have to add up now for tomorrow about the meeting that we had last week and stuff like that, which we'll add up. But if you can, as Steve said, if you can support us and you can afford $5 a month, the price of a coffee, by all means, please support us on Patreon. That'd be fantastic. Right, our guest on the show tonight is Nicola Kehoe Barbosa. And Steve is going to give a readout of her bio.
Yes, I am. Nicola is originally from Ireland and lives in the US. She is a true quantum healing practitioner and uses pendulum dowsing and a series of charts to identify where the problem is within your body and its root cause. She then uses sacred geometry tools to amplify this healing to deeper levels. True quantum healing is effective on physical, mental, emotional and spiritual levels.
Fantastic. Good evening, Nicola. How are you?
Doing great, Alan. How are you? How are you, Stephen?
Yeah, good, great. As we just said before we actually went live, Nicola, you did give me a treatment, and we're going to talk about that, but you did give me a treatment in September for a condition, and it has never returned, so I am great.
We are going to get into that. But before we do that, Nicola, tell us all about quantum healing and what it's about and how you got involved in it.
Okay, so I got involved in true quantum healing probably 3 to 4 years ago. I did do some Reiki before that, and like everybody, went through my own health problems, and my family, my mother passed away, and through some frustration, I was looking for something that could help me and my family, help other people, and I was also looking for a change within my life. I was a bit, I would say, let's say, tormented, a bit frustrated. I wanted to do something that made a difference, something that meant something. We're here in this lifetime, you got one shot, so it's kind of, what are you going to do in that period of time? So I came across True Quantum Healing. My mentor, Chris Kaler, he developed the whole system and put it together. He's absolutely amazing. This system of healing is amazing. And the first time I heard him talking about it on a radio interview, independent radio interview, of course, I was just blown away. I was just listening to every interview I could have. It was like I was studying his work. And then once he launched his course and taken on students and being a mentor, then I just went for it straight away. So that's how I got involved in it.
Okay. And you do this full time now at the moment, do you?
Not full time yet, no. I do it evenings and weekends.
Okay, tell us a bit about it. Tell us about the energy and what you do and the process and the things that you have to. There might be some questions you might have to ask the client before you actually get started. Are there things that they should be aware of before they get involved? Questions that you might ask them. Tell us about what the process is.
Okay, so true quantum healing, it's a method of healing. Most people have probably heard of Reiki and shamanism and different types of healing. So this is another method, and basically what I do is I use pendulum dowsing on a series of charts. So my charts have every area of the physical and energy bodies listed out. So I dowse to find out where the problem is within a client's body and then what's causing it. So I also have a list of different problems or what we call stressors, and then I dowse to find out what is causing the problem. So it could be anything from a physical problem, like let's say excess calcium, sodium, somebody's vertebrae or disc could be out of alignment, and it could also be an energetic problem. Usually there's both, like an entity or a curse or witchcraft spells. So once I found out where the problem is, what's causing the problem, then I use sacred geometry tools to remove the frequency of that problem. So a lot of healers use their hands. I use my hands, except I'm using sacred geometry tools. The main one that I use right now is the Vesica Pisces. So that facilitates the divine energy, divine feminine energy on the planet right now. So it facilitates in allowing the healing to go to deeper levels within the body.
Okay, and is there any rules and regulations or anything that you have to ask the client before you treat them? Is there certain things you can't treat or certain people you can't treat?
Well, first thing I'll do is ask the client to let me know what's going on with them. Give me some, a brief history, how long they've had a problem. Was there a certain event in their life? If there's anything else going on, because sometimes things can be connected. Sometimes a family member, father, grandfather, mother could have the problem, so it seems to be running in their family. And so once I get a brief history and anything else going on, then my pendulum does the rest. Basically, I start off with asking what question is optimal for the client. So I'll dowse on the chart, and it could be anything from where is the most resistance, where is the most congestion, what area is not within their body. Sometimes if there's an energetic area missing from the body, then that area is not going to work correctly. Could be anything from someone having brain fog, a woman not being able to conceive. There's other questions like what's disconnected, what area is cloned. That comes up a lot as well. So once I find out what question is optimal for the client, then I just go from there and find out where the problem is and what's causing the problem. Okay. And then I remove the vibration of the problem, and then say I replace it with a true positive energy. So once we remove it, we always replace it with something good.
Okay, and there's people out there that do regressional hypnotherapy, and one of the things that seems to be common is that there's entities or spirits that will take refuge in part of your body, and people might say, well, I have a back pain, I have a leg pain, I have an arm pain, and the regressional hypnotherapist will actually remove this entity, communicate with them, and then get them to leave. Is that kind of similar? Would you be doing that? Would you be looking for where the negative energy is in the body and removing it, but in your own way?
Oh, yeah. Our charts are full of many different entities. There's Greek gods, Egyptian gods, different reptilians. So, yeah, basically, we have to find out, exactly what type of entity it is. You can't just, say entity leave. So I'd have to dowse to find out if it's a reptilian, if it's a Draco, if it's Zeus, and then basically just cancel out that energy. So in true quantum healing, to cancel out a negative energy, we say false. So basically, if it's a reptilian, I'd say within whatever area of the person's body. I'd say any and all reptilians false, then I'll send it to ether. So we have to send it somewhere so that it just doesn't jump in another area of the body or within somebody else. And then once I remove them out, then whatever area of the body they were in, I'll raise the vibration by saying true. So it's recalibrating that area of the body and raising it up to a higher level, and we can also connect it to source as well.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I posted up a video on our Facebook page on OYM, and it's a security camera, an IR security camera, and there's two guys on the video, and one's walking one way and the other guy's kind of walking the other, but they don't know each other. They're just kind of walking past each other. And you can actually see on the IR camera this energy leaving one guy and jumping into the other guy. Have you seen that, Steve?
No, I have not seen it.
So if people want to see this, go over to the OYM Facebook page. The video's there, and you can actually see in the camera, you can see the shimmer or the energy coming out of one guy and jumping into another guy. And obviously, Nicola, we've heard of people having walk-ins, energies that are attaching to them. And obviously with the energies that's going on the planet, with the energy raising as well, a lot of people tend to be kind of losing the plot because they're not dealing with the energies properly. Is that something you've come across with walk-ins and people not dealing with the current energies?
Yeah, and I did see that video on your page as well. And every client I've had, I've removed negative energies out of them. So some people could say like, oh, there's none in me. But every single client, regardless of the age. Babies, not so much. They haven't been through life like all of us. But so it is a big problem. There's many different entities, and we're like a food source to them. They feed off it. It's our energies, emotions, they feed off it. It's like a battery, and it's actually an energy called loosh. It's a food source for them. So, and what's the rest of your question, Alan, again?
Well, we know about the energies hitting the planet, and a lot of people are having problems dealing with these energies hitting the planet. Because they're not vibrating on the frequency. The Schumann frequency is off the scale at the moment, and we've heard a lot about it. And a lot of people who are, you could call them, if you want to call them synthetics or clones, or I'm sure there's a list of other names that you could call them, but they're just not dealing with the energies. They're not organic. Have you come across that in your sessions?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They can cause people to act out, cause problems within relationships, fights, people's health problems. And people don't see it on mainstream news or the newspapers. Of course, they don't believe it. And, if they do look outside of it, they're going to be labeled, a conspiracy theorist or a nut. So people kind of laugh it off when they kind of hear about it. That can't be possible. But these energies do exist. The way the world works, the way the world is run, there is a lot of evil and corruption and, let's say, occult knowledge out there. And word occult just means hidden. So all this knowledge is hidden from us about these entities existing. And we just find out about them just going through our lives and, our own awakening. And people don't know how to deal with it. And then they can act out, especially during energy shifts. So the different eclipses and energy alignments. A lot of people, they find it hard to deal with that, and you just have to weather the storm. Of course, if they go to an energy healer who is equipped on how to deal with it, it helps, they can remove out those energies and help the person's vibration raise up as well.
Okay. And what kind of protection do you use to stop these entities jumping into you when you're doing your treatments?
Well, I have different sacred geometry tools, so they're very powerful. If, your listeners are not familiar with sacred geometry is, let's say, the sacred measure of the earth. Everything is based on shapes and mathematics, so sacred geometry is within our bodies. It's within, natural food, not human-made food, of course, but natural food. It's out in nature, the solar system. So there's a couple of tools that I use. The one I use on my clients to remove out the negative energies. It's called the Vesica Pisces. So it's like a spear shape, and I also have a double base pyramid around it, and then a sun ring. So the Vesica Pisces, it's layered in gold, and what it does is it amplifies the healing to deeper levels, and it also protects me while I'm moving out the negative energies. So some energy healers, they can take on the problems of their clients, or they have a problem where the entities attach. So the Vesica Pisces that I use, it takes the brunt of the problem and it just removes it out. I also use sacred geometry tools called neutralization rings. Stephen, you probably remember that at the end of our session you stood over it and you could feel different energies and residue being lifted off.
That's right,
yeah. So this is based on San Geneva design, and basically different meditators, healers got together, and I don't know how many years ago now, this could have been a long time ago, but basically they developed something that humanity could have access to and could use themselves to cancel out the negative vibrations and allow our bodies to heal. So what this is like a 13-inch round circle, and then it's like points facing in, like spokes on a wheel pointing in. And basically what this does is it removes negative energies off the client's body. So I also use these at home with myself. I wear orgonite. I have sessions with my mentor as well. It's always good to have somebody looking over us. Sometimes, you know, when we work on ourselves, there can be a bit of a blind spot. So I love having sessions with my mentor. It helps raise up my energy as well, and also bring me to higher levels in what I'm doing. So the neutralization rings, they're I mainly use the practitioner one, but there's also smaller ones as well that clients can carry around with them. They'll put it underneath their pillow sleeping at night. It'll also give them a layer of protection while they sleep, because sometimes these energies will try come in when our guard is down when we're sleeping. So they'll try and come into different areas of the body, and if people are having problems with sleep, there's an area that we clear out called the sleep self and the dream self. So sometimes they'll try and come in through there. So just having the neutralization rings will help clear those energies out. And if anyone is interested in seeing what the neutralization rings feel like, I do have a demo on my YouTube page. I actually use the gold one and the silver one. So it creates a battery type effect. So basically I'm intending the gold one between the client's feet. The client is standing up with their feet shoulder width apart, and then the platinum one over their head. So the gold neutralization ring is more of a feminine energy, and the platinum is more of a masculine energy. So those two together create a battery type effect, and the energies can be pulled out at the deeper level.
Okay, very good. Now, when you contacted us, you told us that you're an energy healer, and in true form, what we normally do is say to people, put your money where your mouth is, because, you know, we talked off air before we went live about people, you know, saying that they can do things, and then when you ask them to prove it, they can't really prove it. In your case, you did. You said not a problem at all. And I'm going to pass you over to Steve, and Steve can tell us all about it and how the treatment went, and, you know, take it from there, Steve.
Okay, I just have a couple of notes because I knew we were going to be speaking with Nicola, so I just made a couple of notes in relation to my session. We done about an hour. It was about an hour and a quarter, but I think the session was probably about an hour. But I believe, Nicola, you normally don't. It's not normally an hour. Sure, it's not. It's normally a shorter period than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually 50 minutes, and we get a lot of clearance, as you know. It's just straight going through dowsing and clearing out one thing after another. So, 50 minutes. Yeah, because that's the length of a session.
Because I think you gave me a good session, because I just made a couple of notes of how I actually felt during the session, because at various different times during the session you did ask me, because I wasn't sure whether I should just be quiet and let you do your thing, or if I should be interacting. And every now and again you would ask me how I was feeling. And I think for the first couple of moments, the first couple of minutes, you were going through the motions, you were explaining what you were doing, you showed me the Vesica Pisces, was it?
The Vesica Pisces.
Vesica Pisces. And I have to say, it looked like a very interesting piece of apparatus. But after we got into the session,
now, just say that this was over Skype, by the way.
This was over, it was. It was over. Okay. OYM doesn't have the funds just yet to send me to America.
No.
I would have been writing home my letter from America. I felt very relaxed. Into the session, I was feeling very relaxed. At one point, I lay back in the chair, and it was visual. It was visual on Skype, so I could see Nicola, and Nicola could see me. And I did feel at one point very tired. And it was actually like I was forcing myself to keep my eyes open. Now this was in the middle of the day. Well, it wasn't in the middle of the day. I think it was in the late afternoon. But a wave just came over me of tiredness. I was fighting to keep my eyes open. I was feeling really, really sleepy. That's how relaxed I was. And I did have a pain in my lower back, and this is something that I've suffered from for years, a long time. It's one of these things that it comes and goes, and with the job that I do lift a lot. I'm lifting a lot of weights, and I sound like a bodybuilder, but I'm lifting boxes during the day, heavy boxes of stuff like 20, 25 kilo, and it's continuous. And I did notice that I did have the pain wasn't particularly bad during the session, but as the session progressed, the pain went from, I'm going to say, probably a 5 out of 10. It went from about a 5 to 0. So by the end of the session, I couldn't. I mean, I was pressing on my back, and I'm fiddling around and poking it, trying to get a response, but there was absolutely no pain there. As Nicola said, during the session, she was asking. And she showed me some of the books that she actually used, and they were that thick. Yes, and I'm doing the visual now. They were that thick. That's how thick they were. Nicola was consulting with the book. I told her exactly where the pain was, and she did do a lot of the clearings. She did, as she said there, she was doing some of the things she was saying was true and it was false, and clearing was happening. And this went on for a good while. I wasn't sure. At one stage, I was kind of thinking to myself, "This is not working." She's saying the same things again, but I didn't realise that it was all part of the clearing down and getting rid of it and all this. By the end of the session, I have to say, I did feel like I felt lighter, I suppose would be one way of putting it. I did have to stand at one point when Nicola was doing something with the ring, and there was I think this was cleared in the negative down to ground, and there was, I think, one of my chakras was, I think Nicola said, you said it wasn't that it was blocked, it was missing, it wasn't there. I'm pretty sure you said my number one chakra was missing, and you had to go through the books, and you had to do something to kind of get it back to where it needed to be, and then kind of realigned all the chakras. And by the end of the session, as I said, I did feel completely pain-free, and that was in September. And I'm still in the same job, and I'm still lifting the same heavy boxes. I'm still lifting the same way I always did, and the pain has never returned. So, I mean, I was a bit skeptical, probably like a lot of people, and as Alan said, you have to have some level of skepticism, and I was skeptical, and I didn't, I was kind of open-minded skeptic, and because up to then I knew we know about quantum healing, we've talked about it before, and when we had like the born doctors on and stuff like that, we went through that, and it was interesting, but we'd only spoke about it. I've never actually experienced a session until the session with Nicola. And I have to say, since then, I would be happy to recommend it to anyone who's open-minded. Even if they're not open-minded, I suppose it would still work. But it definitely worked with me, and I feel the better for it. I definitely feel the better for it.
I'd like to ask Nicola about the symptoms you can and cannot treat. I think it'd be worth clarifying, just in case you do get inundated with people wanting requests, and maybe clarify what you can and can't treat, because there's no guarantees in life,
Yeah, so with True Quantum Healing, we can work on anything physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, so any and all physical problems. If, someone comes to me and it's just, I can't help them, keep doing session after session and, there's no change, then, I will let them know. But sometimes problems can be so chronic that, 1 or 2 sessions we're just removing different veils and layers to get to what the actual problem is. So anytime a client has come to me with anything, I've been able to work on them. Obviously, there's so many problems out there that there's always going to be something new that will come across my desk as well. But anything physical, from aches, pains, a lot of people, they're suffering with fibromyalgia or different types of pain, and they're put on pain medication, and it could be just something simple as they have leaky gut. So there's holes and breaches in their colons, and then the fecal matter is leaking into their blood and their muscles and their joints, and it's creating pain. So with True Quantum Healing, can just move it out like that. Creates brain fog as well. So there's lots of different physical problems, heart problems, digestive problems, and then we also go into the emotional problems. So people that have suffered a loss in their life, whether it is a debt or just a relationship, going the wrong way. I've worked on babies with jaundice. I've worked on different mental problems such as psychosis, depression, just different problems like that. People feeling suicidal, just people also wanting to raise their vibration, be able to meditate better, and just even stress, work stress. People come to me just for that alone, and just removing out the negative energies. Like I said before, they will kind of amp everything up. It's like they're there with a wheel and they're pulling it and trying to wind a person up, and they feed off that energy, but to the person, their emotions and everything is getting bigger and they're feeling more frustrated. So just removing out all those different layers of negative energies, and the person feels more relaxed and everything is clearer, and, they can get on with their job and their life, and their family life is better. So basically anything can be worked on. I've worked on houses. Just a client yesterday, he was saying that there's a negative energy in his bedroom, so we just cleared out the different energies there. Houses, like anything else, they have chakras, they have a source, they have a soul. I've worked on countries. I've worked on Ireland. One of the things that used to bother me a lot growing up was like, why is the suicide rate so high in Ireland? Like, out of all countries in Europe, it's the highest. Is it the highest still?
That's right, it's the highest at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, what's going on? Like, so I've done work on Ireland for that. I have more to do, so whatever else is there, I'm coming for it. But just with Ireland's history alone, like, it's the people and the country have been through so much, like just even clearing out the chakras and the source and different energy grids, just between the famine, the whole thing with religion and the English ruling, and just going back thousands and thousands of years. There have been so many invasions in Ireland. So the country and the people have been through a lot, and it does contribute to the high suicide rate. That's what I'm seeing on my side. Can
I ask you a question about that? Could you get together with your mentor and maybe some other quantum healers in a circle and enhance that energy like tenfold by being together in the circle and all focusing on it?
Well, it could be a group of quantum healers. That's why my mentor started sharing his work with everyone. He wants to create a grid around the earth and have lots of quantum healers, and you're working on people, you're working on land, you're working on everything, and it'll just raise the vibration of the whole world. But yeah, we could do that, but I haven't approached them. I've just been working on it myself. I have more to do. You have to go into different layers and go very deep down. So it's removing a lot of the different spirits from there as well. There was religious curses, of course, Catholic and Protestant curses. I also removed a curse from the Queen of England. So there's a lot of different layers, but it does cause, it was contributing to the suicide rate and other problems as well.
It's just Irish people. Yes, it's just the way the country is being run, and the banking system, and things that we mentioned earlier. I think if you were to try and work on the Irish government, you'd be working overtime. But we do have questions coming in from our chat room. So, Steve, over to you.
Yeah, we have a question from Peter. Peter is joining us this evening from Australia. So good morning, Peter. Thanks for joining. Peter says he has a clear quartz pendulum. He dropped it and it broke, and he's thinking of buying a brass pendulum. And he's wondering, Nicola, would this be a good move, do you think?
Well, I use different pendulums starting off. The one that I use right now, it is made by another true quantum healer, and it's made of organite. There's Herkimer diamond in it. There's different resins in it. It is not as pointy as a regular pendulum. It's more made to have let's say, carry a good weight. So that's the type of pendulum I use. It's of a very high vibration, so negative energies will try and get in and, cause some disruption in any energy healer and what they do. So this pendulum is so high energy, it really doesn't need to be cleared out. I still put it between the neutralization ring just because that's the way I am. I will still clear it out, but that's the type of pendulum that I use, and I'm very happy with it. So it also has iron, brass and copper powders within it. So, and different, I think it's 29 different crystals and herbs.
Okay.
So if Peter is looking for one of those, he can contact me. Just go to nicolakb.com and I'll put him in touch with the person on how to get it. That's
fantastic, yeah. And he's also wondering, do you have to program the rings, or do they work without any input from, let's say, the user?
The neutralization rings, the energy is always within it. Sacred means, a lot of people might think it means holy, but it doesn't. It means permanent. So the energy that the neutralization rings carry, it's permanent. It's always going to be within them, so it'll always work. When you receive it, there's no programming needed. The pendulum I did, the minute I went on my charts, I was sent to the letter chart and I had to connect it to source. So that just, goes to show at such a level that we're working at that I'm told to go to my letter chart and spell out, connect your pendulum to source. So that I did have to, tune it, but the other tools, no. The energy is within them and they'll work with our intent alone. That's all energy healing is about intent. So once you intend to remove something, then it will work.
Just mention as well, you did give out the website there, nicolakb.com. If people actually just log on to your website there, you will actually see some of the pictures of the tools that you use. So that, they are quite interesting. They're interesting to see in the picture form, but actually they're very interesting when I see them on the Skype chat as well.
Can I just ask, Nicola, is there anybody over here who teaches what you've learned?
No, the only person that teaches it is our mentor. So one of the great things about True Quantum Healing as well is that it's, there's always a mentor. Any questions we have, we need help with anything, he's always there to answer it as well and advise. So the way the system works is you learn it by doing it. It's like a trade. So you don't bury your head in a book and, you've got your certificate, let's say. It's constant learning. We're always adding different problems to our charts, whether it's an entity or another physical problem. So it's constant learning. So Chris Kaler from Canada, he is the mentor and he's the only one. His course is copyrighted, so he's the only one that teaches it.
And where did he learn to do what he does?
He took different courses and basically he put everything together and created his own system. And then he was doing it for many years, and then he, decided to share it with everybody else, and people have been going for it. It's amazing.
Also,
absolutely amazing.
And you can do it over Skype then, can you?
Well, basically, you'll receive the tools and the pendulum and the charts in the mail, and then you start it by doing it. So he'll send some instructions and, advise and stuff like that. But basically, you work at your own level, at your own pace, and the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. It's like anything. So you just do it. You learn it by doing it.
Okay, so somebody over here in Ireland was interested. If our listeners were interested, they could contact this chap, Chris, and then they could actually do some training with him via Skype or and be in communication with him in Canada.
Yeah, one of my sisters actually in Dublin, she is doing it as well. So there's people all over the world doing it.
Okay, brilliant. Steve, you got more questions there for Nicola?
Yeah, we do have a lot of questions coming in. Chris is wondering, does Nicola think it's possible that all the problems in this world are manufactured so these entities can feed off us, and has our reality been kidnapped to feed them?
Well, the world doesn't work the way we're told it works, the way we grew up thinking it works. It works in a whole different way. People in power, they have knowledge of all these, let's say, occult forces. Occult is not a bad word, it just means hidden. So they have access and they know how the world works, and they're pulling all the strings, and it's humanity that's suffering. The people are suffering. So these entities, they do work with these forces. Whoever is at the top of the pyramid, people will say, the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or whoever it is. But there's people over them as well, and there's different entities. Even, I can't remember which, I think it was Eisenhower, the US president, back however many decades ago. He made a pact with certain alien races, and basically for technology he traded humanity. So therefore you have all these manufactured wars. who wants war? Anyone in their right mind doesn't want war. You could put a group of kids in a room and they'll be able to come up with a solution for peace quicker than these politicians. So yeah, a lot of the pain and suffering is manufactured, whether it's wars, whether it is drugs, whether it is trafficking, whether it is the food system, whether it's chemtrails in the air, the water we drink. So yeah. It's all, a lot of it is manufactured. So, and people are waking up to it. Their vibrations are rising, the planet as well. There's certain alignments, and I think people are going to have to change because, a lot of stuff has been risen up to the top now. We're finding out about more corruption, and people are going to have to change. And if they don't, if they're still going along to this old programming, then if they don't change, they're going to be forced to change, and it's going to be painful.
I totally agree with you, yeah. Steve?
Yeah, just in relation to extraterrestrial/aliens, Moon Girl is tuning in from Cork. She's wondering, Nicola, what are your views on extraterrestrials, i.e. Dracos, Anunnaki, Blue Avians, etc.?
Well, they're in my charts for a reason. So they do cause health problems within people, whether it's physical, so whether it's a woman not able to conceive, whether it's somebody with a heart problem, whether it's somebody suffering mentally and emotionally. I do clear them out, and once I clear them out, then the problem goes away. As I mentioned before, they can't create anything themselves, so they use humanity as a tool, and we're like a battery for them, a food source. It's called Loosh. So reptilians, yeah, some people says they're good or bad, but in my charts, once I remove them out, I see them as a problem. So if there's any good ones, I'm still waiting for them to show up and do something for humanity. Blue Avians, I think is Corey Good and David Wilcock to talk about them.
Yeah, we'd kind of call them blue chickens because I don't think they exist.
Yeah, I don't really listen to Corey Good or David Wilcock. I see them come up in newsfeed, but something that hasn't really resonated with me. If the Blue Avians are here to help us, then, like I said, show us. The Arcturians, a lot of people do Arcturian healing, but the Arcturians, they were a problem last year mostly, but I haven't seen them come up this year really, but they were causing a bit of a problem last year. So, there's many different types of entities and aliens and different negative energies listed within my chart here.
What do you feel about the talk about the solar flash or solar energy or a wave that's supposed to happen, or the event, some people call it the event? Have you heard about this, and what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I have heard about it, whether it's the grid going down and everything resetting. So I have heard about that and the event where, all these different world leaders are in corruption and pedophiles and everything are going to be arrested, and it's kind of going to be all done in secret, and we're not going to know about it because we can't handle it apparently. But I have heard about it. I don't really pay much attention to it. I kind of work with what I see in front of me. Yeah. But yeah, I have heard about all that, and people being told, okay, have a month's supply of food or whatever. I live in the US on the East Coast, so just having some water and food during winter storms and everything is just common sense to me. So regarding the event, yeah, I have heard about it. People keep saying, it's a certain date, and then it keeps being moved back, and I know there's different timelines, but again, if it happens, then we'll see it.
Yeah, I mean, there is talk that some people are saying it's going to happen in December, other people saying it's going to happen in January, but we've heard these time and time again over the years, so we just take it with a pinch of salt, because it's, it was supposed to happen a long time ago, and it still didn't happen. Steve?
No, even regarding that, we're always told someone's going to come save us. We grew up seeing superhero movies and cartoons, and it's kind of like, okay, we're not supposed to have responsibility for ourselves and our own families, and, our children and grandchildren are going to have to live through this world, and, things just look like they're getting worse. I know things are changing now. There's people rising up. You spoke about what's happening in France and the yellow vests in Ireland and Dublin over the weekend. I don't know how many were there, but so does seem to be people getting up off their knees and
think
they're fed up, and we just have to take responsibility and change things ourselves. Say, no, I'm not drinking this water anymore. I want, I'm a human being. I'm entitled to clean water, not this other, rubbish that comes to our taps.
Exactly.
We have to fight to have GMOs removed, and even at that is not removed. It's, have to fight to get it labelled. So, we have to take responsibility for ourselves and...
totally. I mean, there's not
changes that way.
There's not going to be any saviour, and the ETs are not going to come down and save us. We have to save ourselves, and we have to get up off our arse, and we have to actually do it ourselves. That's really what it boils down to. Nobody's going to come and save us. Steve, you got more questions there for Nicola?
Oh, we do indeed, yeah. I just want to say in relation to that protest in Dublin on the weekend, if you want to know how many people were at that, ring up RTE, ask them, and then multiply the number by 10, whatever answer they give you.
But also, sidetracking again with the Roscommon problem with them people being evicted. We've just have news in that there was a 700 people march in the local town in Castlereagh, just protesting against what happened that 3 people as part of the eviction.
700, that's a good turnout.
700. It's a local community, so 700 is a good turnout. Sorry, back off to Nicola there.
Yeah, so people are starting to rise up then everywhere, so it's a good sign.
Yeah, no, it's beginning to happen. We have more questions for you there, Nick.
We do indeed, yeah. Moon Girl, again, from the county of Cork. I was going to say the real capital. I know that,
Republican
that
county
rubs people up the wrong way. Anyway, she's got a couple more questions. Nicola, does astronomy or even astrology affect times for healing, she wonders?
Well, can do the healing session anytime. The certain times where people might feel a bit more of upheaval is during certain astrological alliances. I'm not very familiar with astronomy, but can do the healing anytime.
Okay,
so
and what about
a specific time?
And what about the pendulums? She says, are they affected by the Earth's or space forces?
As in entities? What does she mean?
She just wondered, are they affected by the forces of the Earth or space? Maybe it's entities, or maybe it's just whatever natural phenomena. But
no, the pendulum that I use is very high frequency, so if there is anything I can tell, and I just clear it out. But usually the pendulum that I have is such a high energy that I have no problem with it. And then I connect the source, and I have certain, open up a session, different things that I do as well. So just to make sure that I'm working with whatever I'm working with.
Okay. What about schizophrenia? Chris is wondering, can quantum healing work on schizophrenia? Yeah. Nicola, I think we've lost you there.
We lost you there, Nicola. I think you moved the cable.
Oh, am I back now?
Yeah, you're back now, yeah.
Sorry. I'll be good. Schizophrenia, definitely. Lots of different negative energies, different areas of the aura especially, could be connected to a lower dimension, so first, second dimension, and that's where all these negative energies, let's say, live to hang out there. So when there's an area connected to that, then some people, they'll obviously they'll hear voices, they'll see different shapes, different movements. So, true quantum healing can help with that big time. Also, there could be some problems like MK Ultra, different satellite projections. Saturn is a big problem. So, yeah.
Okay, Nicola, we've talked about a lot of things and there's a lot of things you're aware of that's going on from a day-to-day level to regarding Dracos and stuff like that. What was your waking up point? When did you wake up? When did the penny drop for you?
I guess I always ask questions, even just growing up, with my sisters, I just always had questions about different things. It's just the way I am. I question stuff. Why is this that way, and why is, a certain thing that way? But I'd say my main awakening was probably when I moved over to the US, and just somebody that I worked with, he was into, let's say, different... I don't like the word conspiracy because it gives the wrong kind of tone. But alternative news, let's say. So let's say the David Icks, all that kind of public figures. So he was just talking about certain stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, that makes sense. So I just started going along. I came across Michael Tsarian, Jordan Maxwell. I don't know if you've ever heard of both of those.
Oh yeah. We've interviewed Michael. He's been on the show a couple of times.
Oh, brilliant, yeah. So I came across their work, and I loved listening to the two of them talking. So then, just ever from there, so it's probably, oh my goodness, over 10 years ago now, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then, of course, just, with all the changes and going through dark night of the soul, as they call it, I didn't know at the time, but, just going through all that and just learning about food and everything, yeah.
And, of course, living in the States, did you notice anything where you might turn around and go, actually, this place might be worse than Ireland, I think I should move back to Ireland? Or do you feel it's better over there?
See, I've been living over here since 2002, so I've been over here a long time. Like, I've been over here nearly as long as I've been in Ireland. I came over, right after college. So, but no, people are starting to waken up here as well. Like in Ireland, over in the US, there's good people, and, the wool have been pulled over the rise, but people are starting to say, okay, something smells fishy here, and all these different, events, false flag events, or whatever you call them. People are starting to kind of like, okay, here's another one. But people are starting to wake up. Politically, there's still the whole division, Republican, Democrat, which is basically, as they say, two wings of the same bird.
Yeah.
But more and more people are kind of going outside that two-party system as well, and looking outside of it. So I don't know if it's any worse or any better. I know over here, I think there's a lot more access to alternative news and alternative sources. It's getting bigger in Ireland, though. I go back to Ireland at least once a year, every year. And I do see a lot of changes. When I first moved over here and going back and forth, even family and friends, I'd be talking about different political things or GMOs, and I'd get that look like, oh, geez, here's Nicola with her conspiracy stuff. But now when I go back, the same people are like, oh, wow, did you know that they glue our beef together?
Yeah.
Or the water, or what's that in the sky, or to talk about different political figures. So there is a big change. I see it in both countries.
Yeah, people are beginning to wake up slowly. And obviously we've been running OYM for 8.5 years now. And obviously trying to wake people up. We've over 400 podcasts covering a plethora of different subjects, from the mundane to the universal stuff. So we do most subjects because we have a wide audience out there, and but it's just taking time over in Ireland to get people to wake up. But it is happening slowly. We have more questions for you. Let me pass you over to Steve.
We do have more questions. We have a nice comment as well coming from Moon Girl. And Quartz, she says, I'm feeling good vibes from Nicola. So thanks for that, Moon Girl. In relation to vibes, I have a question, Nicola. I know you say you don't do this. It's not your full-time. It's not a full-time thing for you. But if you were, let's say, out of the shopping mall or walking down the street and you're walking past people. Now, I know Alan has said to me before that sometimes if he's going into a place where there's going to be a lot of people, he pulls in his, what do you call it? You protect yourself, you pull in your aura.
Yeah.
He pulls in his aura. Do you do the same when you're out and about, or have you ever been out and about, like a shopping mall or whatever, and picked up vibes, really strong negative vibes from a passerby or someone who you've just been chatting with?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Wherever I go, I have a small neutralization ring on me. It's the 4-inch one. The practitioner ones, they're 9-inch and 13-inch. So I do have that. I have a bunch of them here. I just haven't had a chance yet to put it up on my website. So if people want, they can, see how it works, get one. But yeah, I carry the neutralization ring with me everywhere. I clear myself off all the time with the practitioner ones. I do have an Oregon pendant on me as well, but even like the way you said, Alan, he kind of pulled in his aura. Yeah, like I could be walking by someone, I call it the heebie-jeebies. You just like shivering, you're like, ugh. Yeah. So, and oftentimes I've walked into a room, I've sat down, and I've just gotten right back up and walked away. So I've been becoming, more sensitive and more in tune with it, even just the energy that different people give off. So, in our line of work, we call it more of a reptilian energy. With the reptilian brain, you've had Michael Vasarian on your show, so you know of his book, Atlantis, Alien Visitation and Genetic Manipulation. So, some people have more of a reptilian energy about them rather than, let's say, the human spirit energy. And even just clearings with true quantum healing can remove different layers and layers. People don't know what they don't know. But, yeah, I would get the vibe. I've cleared out houses, walked into houses. Even the other night when I got up to go to the restroom, I was just walking out and I could sense some kind of energy. And I was like, okay, you better get out of here before I send you somewhere you don't want to go. Yeah. But, I just got my pendulum and my tools and cleared it right out. So just always, be aware of energies. Use something to protect yourself. Some people sage. I have sage in my house, but I don't really use it that often. I usually use the neutralization rings or just douse on a problem and clear it out.
I've used the sage myself just to clear out a negative entity from a relative's house. But when it comes to demonic beings, that's when it starts getting tough. I mean, negative energies is one thing, but we have heard through other people that are treating walk-ins that the demonic beings, they know the game and they know what way it's played, and they seem to be very, very hard to remove because obviously they don't want to go. Have you come across these?
Oh, yeah. I just kind of put them all under the one label, negative energies. Some people can't handle or they're not aware of all the different names. But, yeah, there is some really tough ones, dark energies, and they will cause serious problems. They can just bring on a health problem like that. And they do work with witchcraft, they work with curses. If somebody has a problem in an area of their body, these, negative energies, demonic beings will make it worse. And they can seriously affect people's health. And just by removing them alone, even without even removing a physical problem, just removing all these negative beings, people feel lighter, the area of their body feels better. So it's proof in the pudding that they do exist, whether, people want to believe it. I know your listeners are more open-minded, so they probably know there's a possibility there that they do. So, but yeah, they know how the game is played. They can see us, but we can't see them. Some people, they're more sensitive. They can see like everything. Other people will see like a flutter, something going by. That's what I see. It's like, if an insect flies by you and something catches your eye, it's almost like that. So if anyone is experiencing that, whether it's in their house or around them, then, you know that there's an entity there and you need to remove it, because if the person's energy, if their vibration is not high enough, then those negative energies can cause problems.
And I suppose you might have come across the shadow beings at the corner of your eye, where you see something and you look and it's not there, but they're at the corner. Have you come across that?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. If something catches your eye and you look over and you don't see it, or it's kind of like you think something's running along the ground, and from the corner of your eye you look over and there's nothing there. Yeah. So that's how you know that.
It's like a fleeting glance of something. It's just something that's very quick, but when you go and look, it's gone.
Oh, yeah, and even just some really demonic beings, like you were saying. We deal with Moloch. Anyone that doesn't know, Moloch is a demon of sacrifice. So he's the entity, let's say, that different negative energies will amp up certain stuff, and they'll try to get people, let's say, to cause pain and inflicted on other people to take their own lives. Basically, the end game with Moloch is he wants the person's soul. So that's how deep and far down and demonic they go, but also how deep and far down I go with true quantum healing in order to remove these problems out.
Okay. Have you come across synthetics and organics in your treatment? Do you
what do you mean by?
Right, okay. Organics, we've been told by a number of guests that on the planet there are people who are synthetics, which are like clones, or they're humans without any soul, and organics, who are, the population, we've been given the figure of 15% only on the planet, and the rest are synthetics or clones. And so there might be people born, but they don't have a soul. So although they're human, they've no soul. Or there's clones, which are generally clones of people that have been cloned.
Yeah, I have worked with that, or I have heard of that. Certain percentage cloned and synthetic. Even just, I remember walking down a local beach and just someone coming towards me and my family, and I immediately, protected my daughter because they look so empty. Their eyes just, you can tell by a person's eyes, and just their energy is also as well. But mainly in true quantum healing, regarding cloning, it's an area of the person's body that has been cloned. So these entities can't create anything themselves. They'll use an area of the person's body for cloning. In turn, it'll cause a problem within that person's body. So whether it is their brain, whether it is a certain area of their body, whether it's their kidneys or liver, it will cause problems. So, yeah, that's how I've dealt with cloning. So we have to disconnect them from the cloning program, remove all clones and clonings, and then, of course, just raise the vibration of that area of their body.
Okay, and when they leave and you do this, do you have to tell them that they should be doing protection, but there's no guarantee that something else won't attach to them later on down the road?
Yeah, everything's energy, everything's always moving, so, you're removing an entity, but at some stage another entity could jump back in. That's what they're there for, to cause havoc and pain and suffering. But yeah, so there is a possibility that something could jump back in. So that's why we have the neutralization rings. People can clear themselves off. And then, if things get really intense, then, usually everyone just books a session with me. I work with different healers as well, even just to remove different attachments from them. Because I can dowse and find out exactly which one it is and where it is. So yeah, levels of protection, just raising their vibration, getting clearance done, using neutralization rings. Again, anyone that just wants to try a demo of the neutralization ring, it's on my YouTube channel, and they'll get to see how it works. And many people just use that over and over just to clear themselves out. Okay.
We've more questions for you there, Steve.
We do. Dougie has a question. Dougie's from Scotland, and he's wondering, Nicola, do you write or speak light language?
No, I don't know. No, I've heard different kids speaking, and it's kind of, some people could think it's gibberish or it sounds like gibberish, but it just carries such a vibration or frequency. It's actually quite amazing, but me, myself, no, I don't.
Okay, I hope that answers that one.
Not that I know of, anyway. Maybe down the line, who knows?
That's true.
But
Chris has a question. Chris is in Dublin, and he's wondering, what is the Greys, their agenda? What do they want?
Yeah, the Greys, they're the ones that apparently Eisenhower made a deal with. From what I've read. I know that's something we read. Who really knows? But I guess just control. They work with the elites, so I guess their end game, supposedly is to reduce the population and bring in their AI and control humanity, the slave race.
Do you think that there that does a process in place where that something or someone is terraforming the planet for their own benefit?
What do you mean now? Can you explain that further?
Well, changing the actual planet, changing like the oxygen levels, changing the way the planet is for their own benefit. Like, could it be an outside race that could be doing this? Because we've obviously heard this being mentioned by a number of people, that an outside race could be actually making changes to the planet for their own benefit, to depopulate the planet for their own benefit.
Anything is possible, even just this line of work stuff that I've come across. So I think it was Bill Gates who was talking about trying to dim the sun. So I'm sure that's not for our benefit. Humanity needs the sun. That's why we're here, and plants grow, and we can't survive without it. So, yeah, they have weapons that they can use to do anything they want. So that's always a possibility. Of course, humanity is always blamed, not, these companies, pumping out fossil fuels and, all the factory farming and destroying the planet. So cutting down forests, it's always humans that are blamed. Then they come out with their carbon taxes, that you have to pay, and, inflicting that guilt on people. So,
is there anything that you've come across during your sessions that you were shocked or surprised at, or you thought, God, that's something I didn't know, or an entity I didn't know about, or any information like that?
I'm pretty open-minded, so it'd be hard to shock me. You know, I look at it as a solution to a problem. But yeah, sometimes in sessions, just different connections, different just clearance that I've done on the Earth or humanity. So stuff outside of our realm that different entities could be trying to do to bring in certain problems within the Earth, stuff like that. Not that I was shocked by what it was, but just the way it came up with my pendulum on the charts. I was like, wow. So, but yeah, nothing really shocks me anymore.
And how many quantum people are in your group Chris has trained globally? Do you have any numbers?
I think there's probably 60 to 70 around now. Yeah.
And I know you said your sister was interested in doing it as well. Are there people in Ireland that's already trained?
My sister is the only one in Ireland right now that does it in Ireland. Yeah. I have some clients in Ireland I work in, so, but yeah.
It seems to be the quantum healing seems to be the new methodology for a lot of people, because we have interviewed other people like Steve Riches in Australia, who actually does also a kind of quantum healing as well. But his is a different type, because his people can't just do a session. You have to kind of give their consent so they can go into your energy fields and do work and all this kind of stuff. And it's a bit more long-winded. Where when we spoke to you and we said about doing a session on Steve, you were, yeah, okay, let's do it. That's no problem. And you did it, and that was great. So I don't know what his version of the quantum healing is, but it just seemed to be more convoluted from our point of view when speaking to Steve. But the whole kind of quantum buzzword seems to be going around, because we've heard this. We have devices called a spooky, which uses quantum entanglement to heal people. And then Steve mentioned the Bourne doctors, where they use the quantum field.
The United Source Field, isn't it?
Yeah, Unified Source Field.
Sorry.
To actually tap into people to actually heal them. So if you get burned in half an hour, you ring the burn doctor and they'll tap into this Unified Source Field and actually heal you. So it seems to be that we're getting a very good understanding of the whole quantum side of things and how it works. Have you analysed what you do in any way scientifically to try and understand it more?
Well, some things it's very hard to explain, let's say in the physical. Everything I do, it's kind of, let's say, it's unseen, in terms of the pendulum. We're connected to a certain vibration, a certain energy. I use my source. I don't use guides. I did, when I first started out, but I put that, to the side. Now I work with my source self. It's the highest level, so there's the soul, the source, and then the source self. So I work with my source self and connected to source. So, there's many different versions of quantum healing. Everybody has their own way of doing something. There's, like you say, there's many different ways to cook a potato. So,
okay.
Yeah.
We have another questions come in there, Steve.
We do indeed. Peter is just wondering, he said, Nicola, he's heard that once you remove a negative energy and implants from a person, they can return after a period of time. So he's wondering, how often would you need to be cleared?
Well, implants and negative energies, usually a lot of energies, once we remove them, a lot of them we don't see it again, but they can be in different areas. So let's say in 50 minutes, there's only so much we can get through. So get a lot of clearance done, but if there's one particular negative energy in several different areas of the body, everything's multidimensional. So, if it's not all cleared out, then it could return. Some people say, they never return. I'll never say that, because there's the possibility they could. Implants, yeah, I've worked with different implants as well. But there's just so much going on in the world and people are targeted as well. I've worked with targeted people that implants can come back. It's just a matter of getting through all the layers and veils and going through all these different deep levels to remove everything.
Okay, and you say that you can only do a 15-minute treatment. Is there a reason why you're limiting that to 15 minutes?
Well, 50 minutes is just to give me that window of time to get to the next session as well, because usually I go over a little bit more than 50 minutes. So, but, anyone, I know some shaman healers probably do, some of them do 2-3 hours, but we just go through so many layers. If you remember, we went through a lot, just even the energy healer I worked on yesterday, he was like, wow, you went through a lot of stuff, you were working hard. So one of the reasons is we don't want to, it depends on the person's energy. Some people can handle clearance for longer, but we don't want the client to go into a healing crisis either. So 50 minutes, we get a lot of work done, and then, it allows the energy to settle as well before their next session.
Sorry, I think it's my ears not hearing it. It's 50 minutes and not 15 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, 50, 50, yeah.
50,
so almost
sorry.
an hour, yeah.
I
get a lot of work done.
I misheard, and I thought it was 15 minutes, and I thought, well, that's very quick. 15 minutes.
No.
50 minutes, so just want to clarify that. 50 minutes. Well, we should have known, because Steve had the session for over an hour, so, well done on that. You've another question there for Nicola?
Yeah, we do. Joan on People's Internet Radio was wondering, Nicola, do you know of any quantum healers in Scotland?
In Scotland, no, but I have clients all around the world. All my work is long distance. 100% of my clients are, I do it long distance, either through Skype or phone. So if she is interested, she can go to my website. But I have clients all around the US, in Canada, Ireland. I've worked with clients in South Africa, China, Russia. So everything is energy. The connection is the same. Once they're with me over the phone or Skype, I can do the session with them. I've also done healing on clients just through a picture or their name. Of course, the connection is better. Speaking to them over the phone, that's the way I prefer to do it, over phone or Skype. It's just they can hear all the clearings as well, and it goes through their subconscious and allows, the healing to progress as well. So they're hearing what's been removed.
Okay, so because it's the whole idea of quantum is you don't actually have to be in the same room with the person.
No, not at all. No, all my clients is long distance.
Yeah, and a lot of the quantum healing is based on that. Distance is not an issue.
Not at all, no. It works the exact same.
And which is great, because at the end of the day it means that people can reach other people in different countries and have some healing where, you don't have to rely on a local doctor where you have to go and see him. And I think that's the great thing about the whole quantum scenario, that with the quantum healing, that people don't have to be in the same room with somebody. Although I do understand the whole principle of that, and it is great when you're in the room with the person. But Skype, I think is not too bad. I think you were okay when you did Skype with Nicola. It was okay.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
no issue at all whatsoever.
Okay, brilliant.
Oh yeah, the session works the exact same. Yeah, I have clients. Of course, the energy healers, they're able to see things and feel different energies being moved out, so they explain things on a very deep level. But it's instantaneously. It's quantum energy, so it works the exact same way as if the client is here in front of me.
Excellent stuff. So, what's the way forward, Nicola? Tell us what your plans are, and tell us what you feel might be happening in the next few years regarding the planet, and what you hopefully are focusing on changing with the quantum healing.
Yeah, regarding that, of course I mentioned before, people taking responsibility for themselves, learning the way the world actually works. So look up people like, Michael Sarian, Jordan Maxwell, your radio show, you have great guests on. Look for alternative media, because anything mainstream, it's there for a reason. It's more programming than anything. Really, all our beliefs are programmed, so it's just getting outside of that box. Regarding health, ways, also to improve their life and make change in the world. We change ourselves. That's the best thing we can do, start with ourselves. So, of course, how happy are we? Are we doing what we love? Right now, I'm doing what I love. I mentioned I'm not doing it full-time right now, but that's my plan. I'm working towards it. So how happy are people? Are they doing what they love? Are they in loving relationships? Are they getting enough time by themselves, reflecting, meditating? How is their food? Look at the food you're eating, the water you're drinking, and then, of course, exercise. So even those 4 things alone will help raise the vibration of them, and then in turn the planet. How are we treating the earth around us? It's I look at it as part of my aura. You know, countries and the world that has its own chakra system and aura. So how are we treating the world as well and each other? You know, how are women treating women? How are women treating men and men treating women? There's this whole focus on the two genders and, you know, other things as well out in the mainstream media. But really we have to look deep within ourselves and how are we treating our children? You know, really the children are a big of the target audience as well.
Yeah.
So, and then of course the Ascension Process, you know, you probably hear a lot about that as well. The whole Ascension Process. So, in my line of work, yeah, I believe it is happening. I let things take its course. I don't delve too much into exactly, you know, which timeline and where are we and this and that. I just keep focusing on helping my clients and improving my life and my family's life. And just by that alone, it'll help raise the planet.
And what's your thoughts, or what's your feeling regarding this ascension? People all have their own impressions of what they feel this ascension is supposed to be. Maybe it's got to do with this so-called flash that's supposed to happen, or event that's supposed to happen. But people have different definitions, from disappearing and being taken up in some kind of craft to, you know, they're just saying that it's an energy change or frequency change.
Yeah, I guess my belief on it is I'm more kind of not very airy-fairy about stuff. So my belief is we have to change ourselves. No one's going to come save us. Of course, you know, the way the earth has been treated and humanity has been treated, you know, it's not going to last forever. There's going to be certain forces and source and alignments that, you know, can't go on forever. But also people have to make a change as well. So Ascension, yeah, I do follow that. But it's probably multifaceted. It's probably humanity having to wake up before they're forced to wake up, or before things get too bad and it's too late. So it's down to the humanity, people, to make the changes, and then there's certain alignments as well that will help move out certain energies. Like I see certain energies that would have been causing a big problem, and they'll be coming up in every single client one after another, and then all of a sudden there could be an energy shift and they're moved out. So there's certain things like that that are, let's say, taken care of for humanity.
Yeah.
But that's humanity's consciousness as well, not wanting those things here anymore.
Well, there is a TV show which Thomas has mentioned, Thomas Williams, who's on the show. He's going to be on it next week. And there's a TV series in America called The 4400. And the whole idea of the 4400 was people just disappeared. I mean, literally disappeared. And basically in, you know, fast forward 50, 60 years, they all appeared, came back, but they didn't age. They were the age that they disappeared at. And the whole idea was that, in a nutshell, these people were brought back to create a ripple effect to make the positive changes in the planet that needed to be done. So now there's about 4 or 5 series. I actually seen the first series. I haven't seen the rest. I just wanted to get an idea of what the 4400 was. Now, the other day I was watching a video somebody posted up on Australian TV, and there's one of our listeners, Andrea, I think it was, over in Australia, and this chap is walking down the road, and you're watching him on camera, and then all of a sudden he disappears out of nowhere, and then the van, about a minute later, this van passes by the path that he was on, and then the van just explodes for no apparent reason. Now, I might get that video and put it up on the Facebook page so people can see it, because it was interesting where the guy just disappears. But there's a lot of people talking about this phasing in, phasing out frequency that they're experiencing. Have you come across that?
Well, a lot of different high energy people I work with, they will go into, let's say, different realms, and they'll talk about that. I think I heard of the 4400. I don't know if it's the same one that was out a couple of years ago, or we heard that there's going to be the 4400 people that are going to, you know, change the energy of the planet, you know. But, you know, are you talking about abductions or?
No, it's just people saying that. Some people are saying that they're phasing out frequency, that they're, you know, just changing frequency. One person who I won't mention a name, but they told me recently that they woke up one morning and part of the body was actually not there.
Yeah, well, people, their energy is rising and people have different ways to describe it. Just even certain programs, or they don't react the way they used to react. So there is lots of things going on different levels. Yeah, there is big time. Yeah.
So all these kind of energy changes are taking place, and people are feeling it. As I say, some people are feeling it worse than others. Sorry, do you want to say something there?
Yeah, some people, they won't realise what it is, and they could, think like they're freaking out or something, but it's just kind of weather the storm. Again, contact someone that knows how to deal with this stuff, energy healer that knows to go to deeper levels, and they can help them that way as well. Some people, their vibration on the planet removes different negative energies. That's their sole purpose for being here. So just they get a very hard time. They get whacked. Different energy healers get whacked.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Well, as you develop your skills and your energy, and having a spiritual background myself, the more developed you are, the more attacks you're going to get, because they want to pull you down. But as a medium said to me when I lived in London, she said, I don't mind that because I can deal with it. It's the people who don't understand that can't deal with it. And that's where your energy cleaning comes in. If there's a negative energy trying to get at you, you know about it, you know how to deal with it. And awareness is half the battle. But it's the people who aren't aware of it, that's where the people will get attacked.
Oh, that's it, big time, yeah. That's one of the reasons that I have, a session with my mentor different times throughout the year as well, on and off. Just another layer of protection, let's say. Just even doing this work, we have a target on our back, let's say. But people that are not aware of it, yeah, they have certain types of breakdowns. Even if there's a lunar eclipse, a friend of mine that works in a psychiatric hospital, he said that people go absolutely nuts, but it's these different negative energies, just certain alignments, and these negative energies are leaving the planet, and they want people to act out and do certain things to harm themselves so they can take that person's energy with them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that people don't know. People are starting to wake up. They're curious about it, and they probably know more than they let on to their family and friends that they actually know. Anyone that is going through that, contact me or contact somebody that they know that knows how to clear these energies away, someone that resonates with them, to get a good vibe off, and that they trust.
Exactly. And we have talked about this on the show before, about dilution of energy from people, and it's very important that we have to be aware that does take place. Steve, I think you have more questions there for Nicola.
I do. I'm not sure how relevant this question is, but it's from Moon Girl, again, on People's Internet Radio. She's wondering, how is Nicola at gardening?
Gardening. I grew up in the countryside in Ireland. My mother loved gardening. I grew up on a farm. Me and my husband, our family, we bought our house probably just over 2 years ago. So I have a small garden. I have some lavender plants. But where I live, there's lots of trees around me. That's one of the things I wanted. Just big backyard trees. But gardening, I'll be focusing more on gardening this summer coming up.
Does anybody say anything to you? I mean, obviously with your Irish background, when you were over in America, about the Irish traditions regarding the leprechauns and all that kind of stuff? Because, the Irish people do get stereotyped. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Oh, yeah. I remember many years ago when my younger sister was over visiting, and I was going back to the airport with her, and we were in a taxi, and the taxi driver really thought leprechauns existed. Now, my sister, younger, she was 19 at the time, she just kind of, laughed out loud. But, he really thought leprechauns existed. So there is certain stereotypes. Same thing about drinking alcohol. If you don't drink, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So there are certain stereotypes, but over in America, most people, they love the Irish. I don't know what it is, but they love the Irish. They love the accent, and, they've more or less good things to say about them.
I think you might upset a few people, Nicola, because there are people who, we talk about elementals, and the elementals are the spirits in the forest, and obviously the fairies and leprechauns. And I'm not saying that I've never seen them, so I'm not saying You know, they're there now.
No.
I know there are people who will say, no, they are there because they've seen them and they've interacted with them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, I've leprechauns in my book. It's never come up, but it's in my charts. So regarding fairies and everything, oh, yeah, Ireland has such a, oh, my goodness, a deep history. Even like a lot of the ruins that are, you know, they're basically ruins, not architecture, I'm trying to come up with the right word. Like all those
fairy
stone
forts.
circles and everything. Yeah, they're there because farmers, there's a superstition, you don't touch it because if not, you know, your life is going to get messed with in a bit. So, oh yeah, regarding all that stuff, yeah, definitely.
Maybe
I'm minded to all that.
Maybe the taxi driver's understanding was that they're actually living in Ireland, that you could go up and speak to them and shake hands and have a drink with them.
Exactly. Yeah. His whole thought process on it was different to ours, you know. In our world, you know, it's unseen and they're there. Some people can see them, some people can't. But his thing was like they were physical and they walked around and you could see them.
Yeah.
So,
no,
yeah.
I know. It's just funny how there's stereotyping with the Irish in a number of ways. A number of countries I've been in, and there is this kind of stereotype. One with the drinking and two with the sport. Two things I've never really been into. But yeah, I've never kind of been approached, I've never been asked about the whole leprechaun thing and all that side, you know, the diddly eye stuff, you know. But then again, I suppose that's what sells to the tourists when they come over, you know, that's really the selling point. Do you have any plans of coming back to Ireland?
You mean to live?
Yeah.
I say never say never. The first thing I look forward to when the plane lands is getting out and smelling the fresh air. And even just getting down to Wexford. That's where I was born and grew up. Just the countryside, just the fresh air. Oh my goodness. So, but I'll never say never. My husband's from Cape Verde. So he's been over here a lot of his life as well. And, yeah, never say never. I'd love to go back. And
is there any draconian laws that they're trying to bring in, like mandated vaccines and stuff, where you are at the moment?
Well, in California they have the SB. I can't remember the number, but that was brought in California, and a lot of people moved, or they vaccinated their kids. But in Massachusetts, there's different, there's religious exemptions, medical exemptions. So there is different protections there right now. Apparently Trump brought in some kind of new, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but new department, religious and spirituality or something, HSS I think, which is supposed to give people that don't want to vaccinate a level of protection, because, it's crazy the way people they believe in vaccines. It's more like a religion.
Yeah.
So I'm sure what passed in California. I know there's people trying to fight it, but it's probably more like a test area. If you can get it in there, try it everywhere else. But I'd say they'd have a big fight on their hands.
Well, we have the same over here. They're trying to bring in the Hpv vaccine. Now it's at the moment it's voluntary, but I do believe during the week I did see an article that was in one of the countries in South America, where they're saying now that if you want to get your passport or your driving license, you have to be vaccinated. You have to be up to date with your vaccines, which is just madness.
Oh yeah, they'll bring in certain things, like even in schools, they'll give the perception it's state law, you have to be vaccinated. It's not, but they'll give the perception, oh, you have to be vaccinated, so unless a parent knows their rights, then, they might fall for it. But that's only different measures to put pressure on people. They've never made vaccines mandatory. Reagan gave all immunity to different pharmaceutical companies to produce vaccines. They were getting sued too much, so he said, okay, it's not on you anymore. And they created a fund that the government, the taxpayers pay for vaccine damaged people. So it'll bring in certain measures to make it harder, but at the end of the day, people still have a choice. It's just, how difficult and how far are you willing to go to if you don't believe they're effective. What are you willing to do so that your child or yourself doesn't get vaccinated?
Exactly. Steve, you comment there.
I've seen something during the week. It was on the internet, so I don't know how true it actually is. Maybe people can let us know. But there was something saying that if your child, let's say a school-going child, if your child has the likes of AIDS or something along those lines, and they're going to school, there's some clause there where the school can't discriminate against them. They have to let them in, and they don't have to inform anyone else about whatever condition it is. But yeah, if your child is unvaccinated, the school won't let the child in. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if anyone else heard anything about that during the week. No.
I haven't heard of that story, but you know, there are different exemptions for school. There's religious exemptions, medical exemptions. It is harder to get medical ones. Some states have spiritual exemptions. So there is that way that, you know, it's not required or it's not by law. But over here there's also, what's the name of it? They can't disclose people's medical information. So if the fact that someone does have HIV, then they're not going to disclose it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I just think what we'll have to do is set up a religion. We only need 10,000 people, and we set up our own religion, and that will be our get-out clause. Nicola, it's been great.
And it'll be tax-free as well, Alan.
That's it, exactly, and make it tax-free as well. Nicola, it's been great having you on the show. We've reached that time. A big thank you for coming on and telling us about your background on the quantum healing. I'm going to pass you over to Steve. Steve's going to get all your contact information, and just to let people know where they can find you. Steve.
Yeah, Nicola, it's been absolutely fantastic, and the time has absolutely flown by as well.
Yeah.
We do have the link, and I have posted it up, and I'm going to post it up again in the chat room for your website, nicolakb.com. You do have some contact details on there also, and the YouTube channel. Outside of that, is there any other way or people can find out more about you, or is everything contained within the website?
Yeah, everything's on my website. There's a link to my Facebook page, my YouTube page, my email if anyone has any questions about anything that's going on with them. You know, feel free to email me. Don't be worried about how out there or far off it seems, because chances are I've probably dealt with it, or at least I can, through the work I can understand, you know, what they're going through. So, yeah, feel free to contact me, nicolakb.com. And my email is info@nicolakb.com.
Brilliant. All right, Nicola, just stay with us there for a minute. We're just going to go off to a musical break, and we'll be back after.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMRadio.com and UnitedWeStrike.com.
Okay, and we're back. That was a little bit of Tracy Ullman. They don't know about us. It was because it's Christmas. We're having some silly jokes here, and that song is for Chris and Lynn, who are on our chat room. They're always on our chat room every week, and they're like a typical husband and wife team who've been married for donkey's years, and they're always having a pop at each other. But it's great to watch, and they're two lovely people, so that's for them.
Brilliant stuff. Now, just a couple of things that we have to put out to our listeners. We have set aside a donation for the Ken Smollen food appeal to enable him to purchase food for struggling families. Now, I've tried to contact Ken without success, and he hasn't responded to any of my Facebook PMs, and I've posted on his page. And, you know, Christmas is coming, and for some reason, Ken doesn't, if he doesn't want a donation to purchase food, then we are more than happy to donate this to another food charity or group. So what do our listeners think we should do? As I say, I've posted on his Facebook page. I've sent him multiple PMs. He hasn't got back to me. I don't know what's going on and what the problem is. But we do have this donation that we want to give over to a food charity. So if the listeners are okay with that, because it's your donations, guys, at the end of the day, we'll actually maybe speak to the You're Not Alone people, maybe, or something like that. And help out a local food charity. So if you think that's a good idea, send us an email or pop it up there on Facebook, send us a message and just say okay, go with that, Al, and we will process that. Or even on the chat room now, if you've got a few minutes there before we finish, just tell us on the chat room there with our listeners on PIR and OAM, if we should do that. We'd be more than happy to do that, and then we can sort it out. The other thing is that we had a lady on from the Child Protection Group, and Louise from the Child Protection Group, and we purchased 2 radios for them to help them out. Rather than them using their mobile phones, we purchased 2 radios for them, and they're still here, believe it or not. And we kept saying to them, we have the radios here for you. Do you want to pick them up? We have the radios here. And they still haven't picked them up. So maybe we can try and hook up with Louise or one of the team before Christmas and give it to them as a Christmas present, because the radios are here for the team. The CPA team were a group of people that expose sexual predators, and we bought them the radios for the team. But they're based in Dublin and we're based in Meath, and obviously there's the distance there. So no, I am planning to be down in Dublin sometime shortly. So maybe we can organise that I can meet one of the team and we can get that transferred to them sooner or later. And that would be cool, and pass that on. And for next week, we have a show. I've called it the United Front Show because it's going to be the first show where we're going to have myself and Steve, Thomas, Kim and Randy all on the one show. So it's the second last show of the year, and the reason why I called it United Front is because we're going to be going into 2019 and we're all on the same hymn sheet. We all know that what needs to be done and the things we've talked about and the things we want to do. And it's going to be a 3-hour show. And I'll just say thanks to Barry on PIR. Barry has kindly given us the extra hour because we'll be cutting them into his show on PIR. And Barry has kindly given us the extra hour on his show. So we can do 3 hours on OYM and PIR, because we know there's going to be a lot of people tuning into the show, especially with the fact that Kim, Thomas and Randy are going to be on the show. So having the extra stream there is going to be handy just in case. So that's going to be a great show. 3 hours next week, and we will be going to a musical break at the top of each hour because people want to have to put the kettle on, make a cup of tea, go to the toilet or have a cigarette or whatever you do. So we will have musical breaks as well at the top of the hour. Steve, do you have a comment there you want to?
We can just read it out there if you like. Yeah, Tony on People's Internet Radio Chat. Tony has said that we are in the process of doing our Christmas hampers tomorrow. We're completely self-sponsored Wexford Homeless Housing Action Group. That donation would come in very handy, he says, if Ken does not want it.
Well, okay. If our listeners are okay with that, then we'd be more than happy to do that. I don't know why Ken hasn't got back to us. But look, it's there, so we'll be happy to do that. If our listeners are happy with on the chat room, or after the show when you listen to the podcast, if you want us to do that, we'll be more than happy, and we can send it over during the week. What's the chap's name? Tony, is it?
It's Tony there on People's Internet Radio.
Oh, right. Yeah, Tony, if you can email us on info@OYMRadio and send us your details on email, and then we'll try and hook up during the week there, and we'll sort something out. That shouldn't be a problem if our listeners are happy with that. So next week's show, as I say, we have Thomas, Randy and Kim, and then the week after that is our last show of the year, which is going to be our kind of laid back, chilled out, if you want a phone in show, the annual review show.
Put it this way, we do the annual review, and we have always put out there that, if people who do listen to the show would like to just ring in and just say Merry Christmas, give a shout out to someone, let us know, what show you particularly liked or what guest you thought was most interesting, if you learned anything, or even just to say hi. And every year we do put that out, and some years people have actually rung in, and sometimes people say they're going to ring in, but they don't. We won't bite.
Maybe they're very shy. In America, everybody rings into the radio show.
Yeah.
But I don't know why nobody rings in.
What is it with these Irish people? You all know who you are. The people who keep saying they're going to ring in and never do, you know who you are.
Maybe we have to pretend to be Joe Duffy.
Joe Duffy.
And get them to ring in and complain. But yeah, the American radio shows seem to have loads of people ringing in, which is great to see. But yeah, so that will be the end of year review. We'll set up the schedule, and we'll set the schedule to the end of January, and then we'll just review the Patreon and see how it's going. It is going slowly. We are getting 1 or 2 in, which is great. Excuse me, but it is going slowly. So it'd be great that if we could get more support on Patreon or PayPal. $5 is the price of a cup of coffee for a month, so if you can do it, that'd be fantastic. It'd be much appreciated, and it'd help us out big styly. But that's it. And what have you got planned for the week?
Well,
This is
what have we got planned?
your last week of work anyway, isn't it?
This is my last week of work. Yeah, we're going to be finishing up on Friday, midday on next Friday. So that means we've got we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a couple of hours on Friday. And anyone who's working this week who is involved in any way with transport or stock taking, join with me, please do, because it's going to be it's a mental week, because we've a lot of orders that go. I work on a transport, and we do have a lot of orders that, some people ring up and they go, "What do you mean it's Christmas? What do you mean you're closed? You won't be here next week?" So there'll be a lot of rush orders, and in the meantime we've also to do a full stock take of about 3,000 different items, and all by midday on Friday.
Wow. Okay.
Spare it off me, please.
So you're under pressure. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just be busy. We do have people. I have people coming to see me during the week. They for one or two things that have to be done. One is OYM, one is outside OYM, and other things happen during the week. So we'll put the actual blog post up on Patreon anyway, and I'm sure we'll do that. And when you log into Patreon, you'll actually see comments on everything there. Don't forget to check out the Power Bank Belt, Prepper Belt Mark II. It's on YouTube. We put the video up there. But for myself, Alan James, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Okay, just remains for me to say thanks to everyone who joined us on the chat room tonight, on the OYM chat, and also on the People's Internet Radio chat. Some great questions, and thanks for joining us. We will be here, as Alan said, same time next week for the 3-hour extravaganza, so don't miss that. Barry Prince, I hope, is up next on People's Internet Radio. So again, thanks to everyone. You're all fantastic people for giving up your Sundays and joining us. And hopefully we'll be doing it again next year. So until next week, I should say sayonara.
Open your mind.